Trust condoms. Kuwa true.
Dad, mbona hii ladha ya yogurt inakaa tofauti? Dad, mbona hii ladha ya yogurt inakaa tofauti? Dad, naweza pata msichana mdogo?
Sweetie, hii ladha ya yogurt iko tofauti kwa sababu ni creamy zaidi, tasty zaidi na haina preservatives. Ebu jaribu.
Naipenda!
Ilara yogurt, now more creamy and more tasty.
Now available in new plain and mango flavor.
We are fire in our hearts. We are made of black.
More revelations from universities' audit. Up to 1,000 degree courses currently offered in Kenyan campuses are not accredited.
Director of Public Prosecution's terms as strange acquittal of MPs Moses Kuria and Ferdinand Waititu on incitement charges and promises to appeal.
10,000 inmates in Kenya's prisons targeted for listing as voters in week-long drive starting tomorrow.
And residents of Loruk in Baringo abandoned their homes for fear of retaliatory attacks as deadly raids persist.
Thank you so much for joining us on Monday Special tonight. I'm Hussein Mohammed.
Welcome to the program. I'm Janet Bogwandisho.
Our sign language interpreter tonight is Douglas Okea. An estimated 1,000 courses offered in universities across the country are yet to be accredited by the Commission for University Education.
This is owing to a new law that has made it mandatory for courses approved by the Senates of various universities to be validated by the Commission, an issue that emerged during the recent audit on universities.
The audit report released on Thursday last week revealed that a section of universities were running unaccredited programs. The Commission for University Education now asserting that the enactment of new laws had led to a situation where it was yet to approve an estimated 1,000 courses run by different universities. This the case in universities with charters, where the Senate initially held the power to approve courses.
During the amendment of the Universities Act in 2014, the law removed accreditation of programs completely and allowed.
In my head I have a team who will start and play there for a week or 10 days now, so but the result we had at Bayern München was will not influence that selection.
The performance of Wenger's players will again be under scrutiny after he described them as mentally jaded in Munich. He's encouraged them to concentrate solely on doing their jobs and delivering results, and not to become distracted by speculation about how much longer he'll be managing Arsenal.
We have to focus on real problems, and real problems are the way we play football, and not my future. The priorities are how we respond to defeat and how we play together. That's what it is to be professional. It's always important not to look for wrong excuses in life and to focus on what is important, what you can influence and what is your job.
Sutton had a light training session ahead of the match on their artificial surface before final preparations at a nearby hotel. But their manager Paul Doswell is well aware they could face a heavy defeat against one of the top teams in the world, however strongly his non-league team perform.
You're playing against a Premier League club, always been in the top 4 for the last 15, 20 years, and I just think we've got to enjoy and embrace the night. I'm not too worried about the result, because if I worried about how many goals we might concede, I'd have a sleepless night. But that's not the purpose of the game. The purpose is that the lads have deserved the opportunity, and it's one of those that they'll remember, literally will remember for the rest of your lives.
Never before have Sutton reached this far in the competition, but this tie carries even more significance for one player who was at Arsenal for 11 years.
It was just overwhelming. Dick couldn't really expect it. Obviously, we wanted a big team. Obviously, I wanted Arsenal because I played at Arsenal and I support Arsenal. So it's one of the ones where I was just happy when the draw came out. So many memories there. Been there from a youngster, and obviously leaving there not too long ago. There's obviously always bigger aspirations there, but it's one of the ones where I'm at Sutton, and it's a good club here, and we're doing very well.
More than 5,000 fans will be packed inside Sutton's small ground for a match between two teams divided by 105 places in English football's league ladder. Another FA Cup upset would be unthinkable for Arsene Wenger. Not only would it be the lowest point of his 20-year reign at Arsenal, it could also spell the end of his career at the North London club.
Yes, it's a huge night for both clubs. Jonathan Ledford is right inside Gander Green Lane Stadium for us now. Jonathan, how are the home team feeling ahead of the biggest match of their careers, their history?
I don't think anyone here at Sutton United can wait for the kickoff. They've been counting down the hours, some would say counting down the minutes. This is the home dressing room, and it's been ready for hours. Everything is in place, everything is ready for this big occasion. But down the corridor, and remember, they've beaten Forest Green, they've knocked out Dartford, Cheltenham, AFC Wimbledon, big rivals just down the road, and Leeds United, one of the former giants, some would say fallen giants of the Premier League. But in here, this is where Arsenal and Arsene Wenger are going to be changing. This is where the team talks are going to take place. And in here already is the Sutton United chairman, Bruce Elliott. You've been involved in the club now for 50 years, 20 years as chairman. How does this game, where does this game rank in your history of great moments at Sutton United?
Well, we're very, very lucky that we've had a lot of very great moments here. I suspect this is going to be the most special moment. A visit at the 5th round, first time ever that the club has got to the 5th round, and a visit from Arsenal, one of the top 6 clubs in the country, is something very, very special for us.
Arsene Wenger and his players might say, hang on, you've got a bit of an advantage. You've got this artificial pitch. This is not really football as we know it. How much of an advantage will that be for you and your players, do you think?
Well, we laid the pitch nearly 2 years ago. I think it's fair to say that our players are used to this particular 3G pitch, but our experience with playing other clubs in this competition earlier on is that they also train on 3G pitches. It doesn't seem to faze them, and the bottom line is that it seems to help clubs that want to play football to pass the ball. It's a good surface, so I suspect it'll probably suit Arsenal down to the ground.
So you're doing everything you can to accommodate them, apart from probably on the football pitch. What's your prediction then? Could this be another famous night for Sutton United as Arsenal suddenly go out of the competition?
Well, you can but dream. My personal opinion is that I think this is probably going to be the end, but then I'll predict a 1-0 to Sutton.
Leave it there. And now if it is a 1-0 to Sutton, think of all the games already in this competition where Premier League clubs have suffered. We've already seen it with Leicester City going out. We've seen it with Burnley going out. But Arsenal, who have done so much for the competition, who've been Premier League winners, who've won so much in so many competitions, is it going to be the cold shower treatment by Arsene Wenger if they do go out? Surely they're not going to go out. Are they?
Don't get that kind of access at Premier League clubs. Thank you to Jonathan Ledford for that. Now, Pep Guardiola has confirmed injury-plagued defender Vincent Kompany won't be ready when they face Monaco in their last 16 Champions League tie on Tuesday.
That's right. The Belgian missed the goalless draw against Huddersfield in the FA Cup at the weekend after picking up a leg problem. We can head live to Ian Irving, who's at the Etihad with the latest for us. How worried is Guardiola, Ian, about his captain's fitness then?
Well, he's done his best to play down this latest injury for Vincent Kompany, but of course with these ongoing issues that Kompany's now having with injury problems, he will get more and more worried, Pep Guardiola. The player will be worried too, and also Manchester City as well, because he's been such an influential figure at this club over the course of the last decade or so. Kompany has only managed 6 appearances all season because of his injury problems. Just 5 of those have been starts. He's only completed 90 minutes twice, and neither of those matches have been in either the Premier League or the Champions League. As you say, Guardiola has ruled him out of the game against Monaco. He could be back next week though for the FA Cup replay against Huddersfield, but as these injury problems continue, as they mount up, of course the doubts will continue about his future here as well.
And Ian, as for another player who's been key to City's recent success, Sergio Aguero, he hasn't scored in his last 6 appearances. It's been a difficult time for him. Is he certain to start on Tuesday in Jesus' absence?
No, I don't think we can say that, especially where Pep Guardiola's concerned, because he does like to change his teams between matches. Of course, different competitions for City to contend with at the moment as well, and especially where Sergio Aguero's concerned as well, because he doesn't look completely happy, he doesn't look completely comfortable in this system that City have found in his absence. I don't know if he'd even be in contention for this game if Gabriel Jesus hadn't picked up that injury problem, that broken foot. Of course, as you mentioned there as well, Aguero not scored in his last 6 appearances for City, which is rare for a player of his quality in front of goal. But Guardiola quite relaxed about that. He's happy to let him play his way back into form.
The guys who score goals is a talent, is a confidence, is to be there, to his instinct. So it's nothing to do, it's just to go there, play, and how they have to move, how they have to create the spaces for himself, create his chances. It's not, it's not from GB control. So it's going to do for himself. So I'm not worried about that.
So a decision then for Guardiola to make about Aguero ahead of this game against Monaco. There'll be no Gaël Clichy like Vincent Kompany in this match though for Guardiola. He's battling a back problem. Monaco 3 points clear in the French top division at the moment. Guardiola giving lots of praise to them in his press conference earlier on. He says the fact they're 3 points clear of Paris Saint-Germain in that league shows you everything that you need to know. And actually Monaco are the top scorers in league football in the top leagues as well across Europe. So that gives you an idea of just how tough this task will be for City.
Yeah, it should be a good game. Thanks, Ian. From City to Tottenham now, Mauricio Pochettino says he fielded a strong team at Fulham because he wanted to see if his players were still alive after back-to-back defeats. Harry Kane scored a hat-trick as Tottenham beat the Championship club 3-0 to reach the quarter-finals. Pochettino had criticised his team for lacking desire in their league defeat at Liverpool, but was pleased with their response.
After 2 defeats against Liverpool and Ghent, many players wanted to play. They didn't feel that they were tired, and because it was a great opportunity today to show that we are alive and to turn that feeling after the 2 defeats and change and prepare in the better way the Europa League.
Christian Stuani's late winner saw Middlesbrough seal a 3-2 win over League One side Oxford United, a result that sets up a quarter-final tie with Huddersfield or Manchester City. Aitor Karanka believes the Uruguayan has not got the credit he deserves this season.
It's a shame that maybe he's not recognized as how good he is and how much he's helping us, because his numbers since he arrived here has been amazing, and not just the numbers, the moments, and today he appears.
Now, Jose Mourinho appears to have started the mind games very early after Manchester United were drawn away at his former club Chelsea in the FA Cup quarter-finals.
Mourinho says Chelsea have the Premier League wrapped up and believes Antonio Conte can afford to focus all his attention on next month's cup tie. Mandy Henry has more.
Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte had a heated exchange during their first encounter at Stamford Bridge, a game that ended in a humiliating...
Hello, welcome back to Premier League news. Arsenal will try and avoid the biggest upset in their history later.
They go to non-league side Sutton United for a place in the FA Cup quarter-finals. It's a match that has taken on huge significance with growing uncertainty over Arsene Wenger's future.
The priorities are how we respond to defeat and how we play together. That's what it is to be professional.
If we got a draw, I'd be on, you might as well send me up to heaven and never see me come back down.
Elsewhere, things are getting more and more desperate for Claudio Ranieri. The Leicester boss says he now needs Warriors and Gladiators to avoid relegation this season.
A nightmare title defence reached a new low when they lost in the FA Cup at Millwall at the weekend, a team 2 divisions below them. Linda O'Brien reports.
The faces of the heroes of last season tower above the King Power Stadium. But for the relegation battle ahead, the manager wants them not just to look like Warriors, but to act like them.
I want to speak again with them and say, hey, now we have to fight every match. Who want to fight? Tell me. Because I need the soldiers. I need the gladiators. Because Millwall in 10 showed the fantastic gladiators.
1 point and 1 place above the bottom 3, Claudio Ranieri has the backing of his chairman and an ex-player who believes the run of 5 successive league defeats will end soon.
It's all about progression and getting to that 40 points as quickly as possible. And I think there is a progression going, but it's probably not quick enough for some fans and media alike. But I think, me looking at it realistically, they are going in an upward trend.
That upward trend cannot come soon enough following another confidence-sapping defeat in the FA Cup. Perversely, the manager believes that loss could be a blessing.
I think this defeat could be good for us because when you lose against a team who is there and fight and do, and you lose, you have to say, hey, well done to them, why we lost. We lost for this. And then we can take what they show, what the Millwall show, and we can take for us.
The team travel to Seville on Tuesday for the Champions League match. An army of supporters go with them, hoping they can get a confidence-boosting performance so they can return here against Liverpool in the Premier League and the players act like gladiators. Linda O'Brien at the King Power Stadium for Premier League News.
To another manager with problems to ponder now, and Sean Dyche has offered no excuses after Burnley were knocked out of the FA Cup by non-league Lincoln City at Turf Moor.
No, he was full of humility, but admits a cup run would have been fantastic. Dyche is now demanding his players now focus on their crucial Premier League match at Hull this weekend. Peter Stevenson has more.
Burnley's shock FA Cup defeat by Lincoln defied football logic, and Sean Dyche has admitted some of his players on the day lacked the edge he demands.
No excuses. You know, at the end of the day, I've been the other side. I've been in a team that had to find a way to win a game in this competition, and we did that back in the day. They found a way to find a result, and that's what football's about. You have to find a way. I was happy with the team selection. I thought there was enough individuals out there with enough quality. It was a tricky one because the conditions were a bit awkward. Like I said, it's no one's fault. It's just, you know, the growth of the pitch is tough. You know, I don't think we were near our levels, by the way, but still enough to get the job done.
Burnley next travel to Hull. Highlight of their first league meeting in September was Stephen Defoe's goal of the season contender. Burnley's problem is their 10-point cushion over the bottom 3 could soon start to disappear. After Hull come games at Swansea, Liverpool and Sunderland, and Dyche's men don't travel well. And remarkably, next game here at Turf Moor, April the 1st against Spurs. So that Lincoln defeat has to be forgotten quickly.
The work will be clear. They know the next, that'll be parked very quickly. Because we know the bigger picture goal here, don't forget. And the bigger picture goal, this would have been the icing on the cake to get involved in some kind of cup run, even to get to this stage. But beyond that, we know the bigger picture of our football at this football club.
Record signing Robbie Brady is certain to be back to face his old club as Burnley try and improve that away form. Any points from their next 4 trips will go a long way to help them to also defy football logic and stay in the Premier League. Peter Stevenson at Burnley for Premier League News.
Sunderland striker Fabio Borini admits his side needs to start winning games and quick if they're to survive. David Moyes' side are bottom of the table, 2 points from safety. They've got 1 win in their last 8 Premier League matches.
The past is the past. Now we need to get the results and probably copy what we did last season. That we lost only 1 in 11 or 13 games at the end of the season, and we got the job done at the end. So we need to do the same now because there's not many games left.
Well, Sunderland are recently back from a team trip to New York and they held an open training session today for their fans. Borini helped Sunderland stay up from a similar position last season and also said he's confident they'll still be a Premier League club come the summer.
We'll stay in the northeast but head to Middlesbrough for the third of our instalment of Premier League People. It's where we meet some of the characters behind the scenes that make the Premier League tick.
Yeah, press officers deal with us, the media, on a daily basis, and we've caught up with the man responsible for how Borough is seen via the media all around the world.
Aim to try and get it for about 12 o'clock, 3 hours before kick-off on a match day. In the Championship, it's a lot quieter than what it is in the Premier League. So this year's been quite new to us, really. Every game is live somewhere in the world. So before a game, there's an awful lot more to do in terms of pre-match interviews, broadcast requirements, and just basically making sure everyone's happy with the setup for the day. Usually in for 12, and then it sort of builds up slowly then really until the players arrive about 1:30. All straightforward enough. 3 questions. Yeah, great. Thank you. Team sheets are exchanged at a set time. Our manager must do an interview within a set window, and then, as we'll see later on, post-match, we're also bound by strict deadlines where the interviews have to be conducted within certain windows. And they're the requirements of the broadcasters. You know, the Premier League, it's a global game, the broadcast all over the world. And, you know, that's why we're here to make sure that they get what they want. You know, when the game that we had to win last season to win promotion, that was, you know, I think anyone, you know, you really felt it that day. When you win, everyone's bubbling and bouncing. If you don't get a result, people are a little bit down. But you know, we knew with the Premier League, we came and we're under no illusions what we're going to be like this year. It's not like it was in the Championship last year where we were expecting to win games and you really were disappointed and down in the dumps. You know, if you don't win a game in this league, we move on. We ain't going to win every week. We ain't going to draw every week. We're playing some very good sides, and it's all part of the experience. We'll do a press conference first, and then we'll do radios after. Certainly after the game, you know, where we have to meet time deadlines for interviews, you know, and you've got to work things around. You've got to be able to juggle more than one ball in the air. You might have a player and a manager being interviewed at the same time, but equally, you know, we couldn't do it without the players. You know, and a lot of the key to it is educating the players and the players knowing what they're doing. I've never been good enough to play professional football. You know, I've never been good enough to be part of that. So, you know, I'm as close to it as you can be in the job that I do. I love the job that I do. I'm lucky, you know, to do the job that I do, and that's, you know, the phone's never off. It's 24/7, 7 days a week, but it's great. It's great.
Every football fan's dream job. Not so good when your team aren't doing so well.
Trouble is, you have to deal with people like us every day.
Plenty more to come on Premier League news over the next 24 hours. We'll have the build-up to Manchester City's Champions League tie. They play Monaco at the Etihad. Pep Guardiola says City's critics will kill City if they lose.
Crystal Palace are 19th in the table and in trouble. We'll be speaking exclusively to manager Sam Allardyce about his plans to keep the team in the Premier League.
And of course, we'll bring you all the reaction for a big night for Arsenal. Arsene Wenger attempting to avoid cup humiliation at the hands of non-league Sutton United when they meet them on their plastic pitch in the 5th round of the FA Cup for a place to play against non-league Lincoln as well. Thanks for watching Premier League News. Arsenal is our top story. 90 minutes until kick-off in what's become a huge night for Arsene Wenger.
Absolutely. Arsenal are playing at 5th-tier side Sutton United for a place in the FA Cup quarter-finals. Wenger admits the match has taken on huge significance following a difficult week for the club and himself. We'll see you soon here on Premier League News.
We have introduced some new customer-focused initiatives for your convenience. We now have toll-free lines for you to reach us at no cost. Call your network number for access to the toll-free service if you're on Airtel, Etisalat, Glow and MTN. In case your subscription expires at any time, you now have access to watch NTA International. Also, if you need to be away from your home, you can now suspend your account for up to 7 to 14 days, twice a year. And note that our contact center hours are now 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. daily, including weekends and holidays. These new features will guarantee you a convenient user experience. Visit easy.dstv.com for our self-service options. DSTV. Feel every moment.
Brad Binder, the world champion.
champion.
Hi, I'm Brad Binder. I'll be racing in Moto2 and catch all the action live on Supersport.
He has timed it to perfection. Brad Binder wins.
And those are the kind of shots the champions hit.
That is a touch of class there. Fantastic stuff. What a shot! And he's got it! Top quality golf.
Perfected by some.
What a performance!
Enjoyed by all. The US PGA and European Tour, live and in HD, only on your World of Champions.
This could be a sensational start.
The Emirates FA Cup, live and in HD on Supersport.
Moving forward. Welcome to Edenville 2, a premier gated community off Kiambu Road offering 3 and 4 bedroom maisonettes from only 16.95 million shillings. Because these large modern homes feature their own private gardens and finishes, you are guaranteed to find your dream home here. Contact Has Consult and book your unit today.
Fire in our hearts. We are made of black.
You can now get up-to-date news and watch your favorite Citizen TV shows by logging on to www.citizentv.co.ke. Take the news with you wherever you are, whenever you want. All the opinions, blogs, lifestyle stories, business and sports news are only a click away. Citizen Digital. On mobile, online. "2017 is the year of a general election and a year true leaders will step forward and stand up for their people. Are you that true leader? Royal Media has determined that in the devolved government, MCAs with their members of parliament are the real drivers of development. Royal Media FM stations are giving you a chance to talk directly to your constituents and let them know why they should vote for you. If you are a sitting or aspiring MCA, women representative, senator or governor, SMS the name of the radio station you would like to air your message in, followed by your name, mobile number, ID number, voters card number, county, constituency and ward to 22884 or 0708 805 445 to book your spot for a chance to sell your vision to your people. Speak to them in their language and stand up to be counted.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with Monday Special. Now, motherhood should be a time of expectation and joy. However, for many women in developing countries, the reality of motherhood is often grim. These women die sometimes during the normal and life-enhancing process of procreation. For every woman who dies, many more suffer from serious complications, and one of those complications is a medical condition known as fistula. Now, according to the Kenya Demographic and Health Survey, the maternal mortality ratio is estimated at 488 of 100,000 live births. Fistula is among the reasons why. It's an abnormal or surgically made passage between a hollow or tubular organ and the body surface, or between two hollow or tubular organs, and we have a surgeon who will break that down for us in a moment. It's a common health and social problem. The social consequences include divorce by husbands, abandonment, ostracism by affected women's families and communities. Now, this is due to the uncontrollable leakage of urine and or feces and the accompanying smell. So that's what we'll be discussing tonight, which is fistula. Use the hashtag MondaySpecialKE on Twitter. Text us on 224 2222. Our panelists tonight, we have Dr. Charlotte Kaliti. She's a fistula surgeon. She's on my right. Thank you so much for coming. And we have Philista Mwoki, a financial advisor and a fistula survivor. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for coming. Dr. Kaliti, if I can start with you. I don't know if my definition was accurate there. What is fistula?
Well, now that you're talking about obstetric fistula, it's basically a connection between the birth canal and either the bladder or the rectum or both. And therefore, instead of urine or stool coming out through their normal passages, they would therefore be coming out through the birth canal.
Okay, and this is caused by prolonged labor, or what are some of the causes?
Obstetric fistula, when we call it obstetric fistula, is usually due to prolonged unattended labor. And so the labor gets obstructed, and because of the pressure between the fetal head and the pubic symphysis, which is the bone right above the bladder, then there's necrosis of the tissue. Necrosis here means the tissue dies. The muscles and the other tissues in between die, and therefore an abnormal hole is created, so to speak. But you can have fistulas due to other causes. Pelvic surgery, cesarean section, radiotherapy can all cause fistula.
Oh, that's why you're emphasizing that we're talking about obstetric fistula in this case.
Yes.
Some might say prolonged labor, many would think the baby's in distress, either the mother or the child dies. So how is it that it then happens that it turns into a case of fistula, as opposed to the fact that someone may end up dying? I don't know if I'm clear. Someone would think prolonged labor could easily equal death. So what happens that it's...
Yeah, so maybe to make it easier, when one gets a fistula, we call them a survivor because they survived death. In the worst, you lose the baby and lose the mother. But sometimes you lose the baby and the mother survives, but she survives with this condition called fistula. So the process towards death and the process towards the fistula formation sort of are similar, only that the fistula, of course, it's a local process. It's just between the bladder and the rectum and the vagina. But there are other things that go on in the body that could actually cause the mother to die. And we're talking about a woman going into labor for days. And normally you should not go. So I just gotta, she went and brought the dead child to me. Then I just again went to a coma. I was taken to the ward. I was in GFA. That's why I was admitted. The ward I can't remember. I can't forget. I can even remember even how the reception there, how the bed that I was, So I was put there, all the mamas were having kids, but me, I didn't have any. So that night I was taken there. In the morning, it was when I was becoming, at senses. I could define myself with all pipes. I had a pipe here. And also another pipe that they put a catheter. Because, of course, the fistula is already developed. But I didn't understand whether there is something that exists like fistula as in my life. So and then, the doctor usually come visit you every morning. So it was like, is this a lady? Ombi got a very gaddy, tall, big baby. So then I was, auntie, where is the baby? Again it was traumatizing me again. Then, so in their talks I could hear she has developed fistula. Then I was like, fistula felicitas. Now what is that? What is this? A Latin word. So it took me like 3 days to realize that I could not even go to for a short call. Really just the way you usually do normally. But all the time the Kenyatta nurses could tell me that all will be well. High-end nurse who used to come and visit me, Sister Kimonge, and I said she's still there. She would come and encourage me, because when I was told that you've developed fistula, I was told it can even be rectified even without surgery. So I was like, okay, how? So Sister Kimonge will try to encourage me and bring the therapy, for me. But again, it affected me. Since I had been done the surgery to remove the baby, when I was almost being discharged from hospital, the wound burst again. Because of the time I could, once I hear the baby crying, I couldn't, where is mine?
When you hear another baby crying, you thought...
No, I was in a ward,
Mhm.
and every, you know, every lady there had a child, and then the nurse will say, "Chukwani mwoshe watoto," you know, such kind of things. Then me say, "Now, what I used to go, I get out, sit somewhere there." I can also remember very well where I was seated.
Okay.
So there was much trauma. Now, then I was, you know, I become to another situation like, you know, how can I, you know, will I become the same Felicitas again? Because sister, I could tell sister, me I've never known this. To me it was dead.
Yeah.
To me, you know, it was like just the way people perceive it. In Chawi, or maybe no, my child has already died.
Yeah.
I am in this, you know, situation. So.
Can I ask you, sorry to interrupt your story, because I know it's coming from a very deep place.
Yeah.
I'm just really scared we might run out of time and want to ask a few more questions. The doctor mentioned uncontrollable urine and feces, etc. In your situation, did the fistula worsen? And how was it eventually corrected?
Like mine was urine. There are those cases where it is both. Mine was urine.
Okay.
So later on I was discharged from Kenyatta Hospital, and it was after 1 month, and the urine was still leaking. But they took care of me. They, I left the hospital with the catheter, which it was a very hurting situation because I've gone home with no child. I could not even go to the other ladies, the chamas and kadhalika, or even job. By then I was working in a school and I was working as a receptionist. So I was like, I will never even go back to school, you know, and work. So to me, it is so shameful because let me tell you, I could not even get out from the house. My husband was nursing me there. My child was like, "What is this, Mama?" So I latched on, you know, and sometimes there are, you know, more carries from your fellow ladies.
From fellow ladies. So they knew about it, and
they knew because it was like the child passed, died, and you know she can't control urine.
How did that affect you, even in terms of psychologically,
It
emotionally?
really affected me because it even extended to wherever I'm married, and my husband was even like, she had, you know, let him look for another wife.
That's what happened.
And they were saying, you know, because of what happened.
Yeah.
Because they were like, I'll never be normal again. They told you know, it's like a curse in the family.
Okay.
You know.
Can I take you back a little bit before I ask the doctor another question? Even for your first child and your second, is there a reason why you had prolonged labor and why you didn't go to hospital?
Yes, just from the one, you know, I said that where I began my first child is the same hospital, the same nurse.
Yeah.
So what happens, I had faith, you know, I'll be, you know, well, but mine was a prolonged labor. I was like, it was a prolonged labor, and I didn't know whether the child was bigger than the first one.
So even for the first one, you took about, did you say 1 day before you actually went and had your baby? You were in labor before you went to hospital?
Yes.
Hospital.
Let me say that it was, you know, out of negligence.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay, that's what I was trying to get to. So is that it sometimes? It's just a case of not really knowing when the right time to go to the...
Like she's saying, this was her first pregnancy. And sometimes she's not even aware that she should do something about it.
And she survived it, so she thought, okay.
She survived it. Some women go to the hospital and they're pushing. They didn't even know their labor was that advanced. So they take long. And at times, in certain communities, they would prefer to, you know, engage a traditional birth attendant or have the mother-in-law attending before going to the facility. You know, just trying to see if it will work at home.
Yeah. All right, Doc, how is fistula corrected?
So like she alluded to it, if you get the mother early enough and it's a small fistula, just continuous urine drainage using a catheter, which is a pipe inserted through the urine to ensure that you're bypassing the hole, would give it time and room to heal, especially if it's a small fistula. And the catheter can be in for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But for the larger fistulas, or maybe you get the woman much later on, then the only way to manage it is through surgery, corrective surgery. But yes, it can be cured.
All right. And does it only happen in someone else in the developing world? Do you have cases like this that happen beyond Africa and Asia where you can find these issues. It does, and it's again just maybe negligence.
Yes, it does, although the patterns of fistulas are changing, and even in our setting, in our country, we're seeing more fistulas due to pelvic surgery, like I mentioned earlier, due to radiotherapy, and that's the situation in the more developed countries. You rarely find women getting fistula because of an obstructed labor process. It's more because of the other causes.
Right, and it's a surgery, so a lot of people are asking, so what is the cost of fistula? Probably quite high, especially for
#1 brand recommended by dentists. Jazz. Music that surprises you. Music that thrills you. Music that moves you. Music that makes you want to change the world. Make a difference to the children of Ghetto Classics. Be a part of Music That Moves at the Safaricom International Jazz Festival, featuring US jazz legend David Sanborn and a host of other international and local performers. Sunday, 26th February at the Training Grounds, Kasarani Stadium. Regular tickets 2,000 and student tickets 500, available at select Safaricom shops and the Safaricom Michael Joseph Center. Dial 1511 to buy your ticket via M-Ticketing. The Safaricom International Jazz Festival. Music that moves you.
Do you know what makes my cooking fun? It's having a partner who shares my passion for healthy cooking. Avena, the new premium vegetable cooking oil, contains omega-6 and 9 and is fortified with vitamins A and D. Lunch! Thanks, partner. New Avena premium vegetable cooking oil. Now available in all leading stores. Fire in our hearts. We are made of black.
The Joint Opposition Team NASA has given the IEBC a 2-week ultimatum to outline its preparedness to conduct the August polls in a free, fair and verifiable manner. In an elaborate letter addressed to Chairman Wafula Chebukati, NASA, through its legal team, wants IEBC to prove that its database has not been infiltrated by the agents of the ruling party. NASA also wants the Commission to present a roadmap of procuring critical technology that will be used in the polls in August. And as Francis Gashuri reports, Jubilee is on the other hand insisting its party primaries must be conducted by IEBC.
168 days to the polls, the opposition alliance NASA has outlined its fears of a compromised general election and wants IEBC to come clean on its state of preparedness to handle the August contest. In a detailed letter addressed to IEBC boss Wafula Chebukati, NASA wants the Electoral Commission to within a fortnight outline how set it was for the August polls, raising questions on the technological apparatus established to ensure that the general election would be free, fair and credible. NASA claims 6 months to the polls, the Commission was yet to procure, install and test the integrated electoral management system as required in the electoral laws passed by Parliament last year. The opposition also wants the Commission to prove that its biometric voter registration data had not been interfered with and that its database had not been corrupted by what NASA claims were agents keen on influencing the August polls outer body would navigate the obvious conflict of interest should it oversee the party primaries. Francis Gashuri, Monday Special.
My business, it's ready business.
Oil Libya Westlands is a ready business. Find out if your business is a ready business by taking the Readiness Index test at www.safaricom.co.ke/readybusiness.
In business news, the government has set up 215 million shillings insurance scheme to compensate livestock farmers affected by drought. This has seen the ministry partner with 7 insurance firms to offer support to 6 counties most affected by the ravaging drought. Dennis Otieno has that story.
In partnership with 7 Kenyan insurers, the government has embarked on the program dubbed Kenya Livestock Insurance Program to avert future losses to over 12,000 pastoral households in the country. The cover works by using satellites in monitoring vegetation available to livestock and provide assistance if livestock